joining us. Sheriff Louderback and Gina Wagner with Pedro Rivera and Don Golvach on deck. Sheriff, if you would go first.
Chairman, Senator Hall, Sheriff Louderback for the bill, representing Sheriff Association of Texas. It's obvious to Texas sheriffs that the federal immigration system is in a state of collapse. We have unprecedented criminality that's coming across our border and has been for some time. Texas is probably the hot spot for transnational gang activity. We're told repeatedly that ICE is focused more than ever on targeting criminal aliens, but in fact, by DHS statistics, we're seeing that those numbers have declined. Just in 2015 already, we're over 10,000 that have been released, not only in Texas jails, but all over the country. I do have a concern that I want to bring up. We're for the compact bill here, but if we're allowed as Texas peace officers to enforce some portion of federal immigration, please consider funding for your Texas sheriffs and for your Texas jails, which may become a factor there. Other than that, senators, the bill is necessary. It's time. I believe that Texas, it's pretty obvious to Texas sheriffs that we have to become involved even more than what we are now. And I appreciate your efforts for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Senator Hall?
Thank you. And let me ask you the question then that was asked earlier. Do the federal agents inform you and the other sheriffs when they turn loose criminals in your area?
Senator, the way that it works in Texas jails is when ICE releases a hold that they have on an inmate in your Texas jail, and also in our Texas prisons, then when those detainers are released, then there are no charges to be held at all. So those inmates are going to be released upon any kind of state charges. If those are done, then those inmates are going to be released, and they're not going to be released to Border Patrol or ICE. They're going to be released into the public.
Wow. And so that doesn't even include the roadside stops where they do a head count. And oops, they only have 5 involved in human trafficking here, and they only have 5 on board. So they just turn them loose. I mean, there is no record of that for our state officers, as I understand it. Is that correct?
That's correct. I do know from talking personally to Texas sheriffs, the situation on the border with stopping groups of illegal aliens that are coming across, there are many instances where if a larger group is spotted, in other words, let's take, for example, if there are 12 in a group and a call for intercept a group of 18, then those 12 will be relayed by radio. They will be actually released and given a direction of travel and a location, and another Border Patrol team will try to find those group of 12, and then that group, that Border Patrol team will leave and go and try to apprehend or interdict the 18, the larger group. So another example of what we've been told repeatedly is happening there on the border. In Texas counties, Jackson County is a corridor county. In other words, we're the 7759 corridor out of the valley. And I personally don't have any trouble with Border Patrol coming. So anytime that we have any type of criminal investigation that starts from a traffic stop, which results in an evading, then anyone that's picked up in that criminal investigation, Border Patrol comes pretty quick. Now, I don't know what they do with them. They're taken to Corpus Christi, which is my regional area. But from that point on, I don't know what happens with those, because we don't have access to any kind of federal databases to help us in that area. we call Border Patrol when they're detained in a Texas County jail for that brief time period, then I don't have any access to any data at all on how many times that person or that identification, any of those things we are not privy to that as Texas law enforcement.
So you could have a multiple repeat offender that has been caught, released, and you're doing one more catch, and you have no access to what the history is, even what country they come from.
That's correct. That's always been the case.
Okay. Thank you very much. And yes, as we've talked with the Interstate Compact, as we have laid it out, this will be a broad, state-based, all law enforcement agencies working together under it. So appreciate yours.
Thank you. We do have a cohesive strategic response. Texas Sheriffs want to be involved in that, and we think we're ready to go.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you for serving too. Thank you, sir.